Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Hull. Welcome to the MKM Stadium. We are right at the very back of the upper tier of it. That is the back. That is the structure of the back of the stand that you can see, which means we've got an excellent view of the pitch. Not my favourite view, I'll be honest, but definitely a view of the pitch. And we will, of course, bring you the Norwich City team when it drops in about a minute's time or so. What I might do before that, I don't know if Adam is capable of just opening his screen up and spinning it round to the pitch to give you an idea of what it looks like. He might not be able to, in which case I'll suggest him that, here we go, he's going to have a go. I don't know if you can quite see that pitch. That's brilliant, Adam, hold it there. But that is, and I'm not sure if that's even doing it justice, but the pitch is not great. There's some real patches of dryness, particularly in the penalty areas, also kind of all the way around the pitch, which is less of a worry, but I did see some comments from Liam Rossini in the build-up to this game suggesting that it was for what they want to do. Wrong button, Adam. We got there. There we go. And we've got just a few seconds now to wait until that team news drops. I predict about 5 seconds or so. Paddy joins me, and we will dissect it and get through all your comments. We want your predictions and your feelings ahead of this game as well. And here is the Norwich City starting 11 for you. Gun in goal, Stacey, Duffy, McLean and Yanulis are the back four. Sarah and Nunez, the midfield two. Rowe and Sainz on either flank, with Ashley Barnes and Josh Sargent up front. The subs bench, George Long, Ben Gibson, Sam McCallum, Danny Bart, Kellen Fisher, Onel Hernandez, Liam Gibbs, Christian Fashnacht and Adam Eder. Shemiswar Poeta and Jacob Sorensen are both with Norwich City's under-21 sides, who are due to kick off any moment now against Wolves at Colney. Just to run through that again for you. Gunn, Stacey, Duffy, McLean, Yanulis, Sarah, Nunez, Rowe, Sainz, Barnes and Sargent. And Paddy, in the circumstances that Norwich City find themselves in, fully fit squad, does that feel about as strong as David Wagner can go at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I said to Connor, I hoped he would go McLean. You thought he could maybe lean toward Gibson at centre-back, but for me, it's no coincidence. They look, and what it says about the squad, we can get into another podcast on another day, but they look better when he is at centre-back in that recent pre-Christmas run. Once he started to come back out of there, they've looked every bit as woeful as they have at various junctures this season. So, not saying that's the cure for everything, but alongside Duffy, I think that's, given the availability of what they have now at centre-back, that's probably the best he can go with, I think, now. And that then gets Nunez in the side. I think that's a positive alongside Sarah. And also, you know, he's now giving Rowe and Sainz the sort of sustained run we hoped that he would do. And I think they are, by a large measure, their best wide players in terms of the available options. And obviously, we all know Barnes and Sargent was their kind of axis at the start of the season before both got injured. So it's no surprise he's gone back to that. So, yeah, that's... If I was to write down 11 names, I think I would have probably put those 11. No Hanley, just to confirm, you know, there was a little bit of, did he mean he was out for 10 to 14 days? Clearly that is the case. They're assessing this back issue. Not too much in terms of where game changes on the bench. If I'm concerned about anything, it's more the bench. Adam Eder, of course, who settled this game at Carrow on the opening weekend. Him aside, you know, Hernandez and Fashnacht. But really, I think it's going to have to come from the 11 who start the game tonight. And yeah, of the available options in the current quest for something a lot better than what we've seen, certainly in the last 4 or 5 games, I think that's as good an 11 as you can put on the park. But now it's up to that 11 to go out and against a team who are striving to get in the top 6 and have made quite a signature signing in the last day or two, to go out and put on a performance for those 1,300 or so who've travelled here tonight.
Yes, indeed, and on paper certainly that front four looks excellent. John Rowe, Borja Sainz, Ashley Barnes, Josh Sargent. Feels like there's goals and creativity in there. Nunez as well. We've seen him in recent times make more strides in that central midfield position. It was, of course, this ground where he scored that wonderful free kick last season, wasn't it? His first goal for Norwich City. Gabriel Sarah, who has maybe struggled a little bit for productivity, but we don't need to talk about his qualities. And as you say, Kenny McLean back at centre-back. And the bench is an interesting one, isn't it? Because it's, 4 defensive options, obviously, and a goalkeeper. So essentially more than half of your bench are made up by goalkeepers and defenders, which is particularly curious. And it's going to be interesting to see if Josh Sargent can start a full game tonight. Obviously, his first championship start. He started in the FA Cup. And think there's still some question marks probably from him and David Wagner, as well as his sharpness. How long is it going to take for him to hit top gear? Certainly from what we've seen at the moment, and that cameo against Southampton, hopefully it's not going to take too long. I don't know if we're in a position to bring you the whole team. We are, and the news is that Fabio Carvalho does start for them on the left. 6 changes for them from their 1-1 cup draw against Birmingham. They've also got a replay in the week. It's Allsop in goal, Coyle, Jones, Greaves and Jacobs, the back 4, Morton and Slater, the midfield 2. Scott Twine, a name familiar to Norwich fans from his time at Burnley last season. Carvalho, the Liverpool loanee, on the other side. Very exciting signing with Tufan behind Aaron Connolly, who is more than good enough at this level as well. Billy Sharp, also at Hull City. He makes the bench. I'll read you their bench. It's Ingram, McLaughlin, Doherty, Sharp, Vaughan, Lockillo, Furlong, Smith and Sellers, Fleming. Paddy, I mean, the stakes are... we've got some waving going on at mascots here.
Very popular mascot.
Yeah, very popular. The stakes are high for Norwich City tonight. You look at the league table, and there's been much debate about where exactly they are in this playoff race. And we can have our own views, and we have had our own views on maybe what we feel the outcome of it will be. But the reality is, if Norwich City win this game tonight, they will move 2 points behind Sunderland, who are currently in 6th place. They would obviously have a game in hand, but more crucially, one within Hull. So on the flip side of that, if they get beat, suddenly it's 7 points to Hull, and it's that would feel, particularly given we've got a whole block of games tomorrow, pretty insurmountable if they were to lose, even though it's at this stage of the season. But I'm throwing in how they're playing and all the mood around the place.
Well, I mean, that first scenario, i.e. the positive one, they win tonight, did you say 2 points behind top 6 with fixtures to come tomorrow? Given the dross they've been serving up too often this season, again, it just emphasises what a bang average division this is. And it wouldn't
put them 8th.
Well, there you go. And it wouldn't take a huge amount to remain in the shake-up. I'm not going to say they will get in the top 6, but to be in and around it, and that purgatory of you get close, then you regress again. And tonight is graphically illustrated, as you say there, in terms of the outcomes if they win and if they lose the game. So I don't think anything's decided tonight. But
can I just say, because we've got a few comments, I think it's not been interpreted well. We're just painting the scenarios. We're not giving an opinion as to where they would finish or end up. Just to add that.
I think we both know where they're going to end up, and it won't be in the top 6. But if you look at the basic statistics involved, then there will be 2 points behind tonight. So, of course, certainly internally, they will talk that up as we're still in the playoff discussion. Whether you're actually a bona fide competitor, I think we'd all probably, well, most people now, I think would agree under this head coach that isn't the case. But, you know, I look at Hull, and despite making them sort of signature signings, and they're missing 1 or 2 other good players tonight, aren't they, through injury, they're 1 win in 5 as well. So this is by no manner of means one of the better sides in the division for me. So why can't Norwich, and it again maybe cuts to the heart of why shouldn't we all expect Norwich to come here with that group of players and be able to perform to a level that they get A, a performance, and B, if they get a performance, hopefully get a result. That's the bare minimum for me in this division. And the fact that they haven't hit that level too often this season is why we're here. And I can see the comments, you know, there's talk of protests in the away end tonight in terms of light shows and a banner maybe I've seen on social media.
Yeah.
That's why we're there, because clearly under this head coach and this group of players, allowing for the mitigation about key players who've been out injured, that no longer holds for me. Hanley, okay, but, you know.
I thought it was a pretty weak argument at the time.
Well, it was, let's be honest. But that's certainly a chip you can take off the table now. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at. You know, if they get a result tonight, then it probably won't do a lot to assuage some of the sentiment maybe on here and broader. Maybe a lot of the travelling support tonight, they'll come and support their team because it's their team. But do they feel, do me and you feel David Wagner is the mid to long-term solution for this football club? No. But unfortunately, until Ben Napper decides now is the time, then on we go. But, you know, while he is still in charge, then, you know, he will believe that he is good enough to turn it around. You know, his performance at the presser with you 2 days ago was, to me, a man exhibiting distress signals. I think maybe it's getting to him now.
As he would. He's a human, right?
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, and if he's debating why he's getting that line of questioning it, take a look at what you're not doing with this group of players, you and your coaching staff. So he should understand that it's only going to get hotter in the kitchen from here if they continue on this path, which is, let's be honest, it's nowhere near the playoffs. It's reverse gear and it's down into the mid reaches of the championship mediocrity, which is where they were last season under him. Let me point that one out as well. At least finished under him anyway.
How do you see him approaching this game? Because we've seen Norwich have a poor record. These are actually, I think, one of two teams in the top 10 that they've recorded a win against this season. So Hull and Cardiff inside the top 10 that Norwich City have beat. They failed to record a win against any of the league's other top 10. We have seen him recently. Southampton's a good example, but there are others as well, where he's gone a little bit more pragmatic and tried to soak up a lot more pressure. West Brom, I guess, is another example, even pre-red card. I know he wants to talk about the game post-red card, but pre-red card, there was some of that as well. Would you expect a similar style of approach? Do you think he's going to let the shackles off? How do you see him approaching this game? Because we've mapped it out there. The rewards tonight, certainly from a narrative perspective, and that's probably what he's lost control of a little bit, is there if Norwich City can win this game?
Well, I asked you what can we expect from Hull tonight, and they want to play football. They want to get the ball down. That tells me they will try inevitably at home with a very decent home turnout, be the aggressors and dominate territory and possession. And if that is the type of game we're in for tonight, then that really, if you go all the way through the last 12 months of the Wagner, the better performances have been when they've been faced with that problem and they can counter and they can transition. And you look at the pace with Rowe and Sargent and Barnes they do have that understanding. We saw evidence of it again, I thought, in the first half against Bristol Rovers. There is more than enough in that quartet in a counter-attacking strategy to cause Hull problems going the other way. And then it'll be, as it feels often with Norwich, is can they defensively be more resolute than they have been?
Yeah, I don't know if you can see us on the big screen. There's a highlight of I think it was Hull's first goal here last year, which is, let's just say,
Norwich talking about defensive.
Norwich City's defending hasn't improved from that point. How do you see this going, Paddy? It's, as you say, it feels quite a big game. Obviously, because of where Norwich City are in the table, but also because of the mood. I mean, you've only had to take a cursory glance at social media and speak to some Norwich fans to understand where they're at the moment. It's a real lack of positivity. It's quite a miserable football club at the moment, isn't it? I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's going through stages of grieving at the minute. It's just, and that's
stage you're in.
I don't know. It feels like we've been on for a while. Yeah, and that's not trying to be flippant. Or, I mean, ultimately, it's football. It's supposed to be entertainment. There's a lot worse happening in the world. So let's keep it in perspective. But if you're invested in your football club and you look for a release from whatever pressures you're under in life, you're not getting it under this group of players and this head coach, and you want change, and that's understandable. And the feeling maybe, which is what might be the tone of any protest tonight, is that those inside the club at the top echelons aren't listening. Have got their fingers in their ears metaphorically and don't want to hear it. And we don't need to go down the route of the 20% and the whingers again. But, if you don't feel you're being listened to, you don't feel that your valid concerns are being taken on board and nothing's materially changed in front of house, then, that takes you into territory you don't want to go to as a football club and a fan base. And I'm not advocating any sort of action of any nature, but if the frustration reaches at a certain level, it might get to that, and that wouldn't be a pleasant place to be around. We've got this tonight. They've got the midweek game at Bristol, and then West Brom at home Saturday week. And as I said to you on the drive up, there's a parallel there. If you remember, Chris Hughton's last stand was against West Brom, and the clap banners as they rained down. We've got a picture in our archive. Pepe Mel, who was the West Brom boss, in the dugout in front of the City, the main stand. City stand. Bemused as in what's going on here, and that was the end for Chris Hughton, and that was a desperate day as well. And I think we could be swiftly, if this doesn't improve radically, we'll be in Dean Smith Blackburn territory in terms of large swathes of the Carrow Road home crowd voicing that displeasure in unison. And how long can they not listen to that? But until we reach that definitive watershed moment for the people who matter inside the football club, then on we go. But it's not enjoyable. It's frustration veering into apathy, veering maybe into protest at some point, and that would be sad to see, because that is it. If you're trying to achieve anything as a football club, and in all Norwich's best periods in the modern era, last 10, 15 years, unity, fans and players, and everybody connected to the club together. at the moment we're so far at the opposite end of the spectrum. It's going to take a lot to put it back together, and different personnel, it would appear, in key positions on a football side. Score, draw, 1-1.
There's no logic to this. I've just got, when you get a feeling. I think Norwich are going to win tonight.
There you go.
Based on no logic at all. I'm going to go Malcolm. No, they'll concede 2-1. I'm going to go Malcolm, but we'll definitely agree with your statement on Josh Sargent. That's for sure. As they crank the system or the audio system up around the ground, that seems like an apt place to leave it. Thank you very much for watching. Pinkham.com, of course, the place to go. This man will be speaking to David Wagner, irrespective of result, which is bound to be interesting, irrespective of result, and we'll bring you all the analysis as well. Enjoy your evening, if that's possible, and fingers crossed we get some positivity to speak about come full time. Thanks for watching.